Patreon Q&A number 45. I want to thank all 70 of my amazing, incredible patrons. Guys, you know I love you so much, and I really am incredibly grateful for all of the support that you have been showing me, and I just hope that the Q&A is good enough to give back for all that you have given to me. To everyone else listening, there's going to be spoilers in these questions and answers, so tread carefully. Kingisgod asks, so Mr. Shonen, Saitama versus someone, maybe God, with the ability to create black holes, what power level would he be in, and what would Saitama do in this fight? So first of all, let's just put it out there that I think God is very likely to be disaster level God. I mean, if there's any monster in the series that will attain this level, it's definitely going to be him. I mean, first of all, his name is God, so I think that might be a little hint right there. And although he's not likely the God of that world, just in my opinion, of course, I just think he's probably going to have disaster level God. I mean, given what we've seen about him so far and the way that I theorized that he was set up in the very first chapter, meaning that he's likely going to be the very last villain, meaning that he's going to like bookend the series in a very cool way, which I could see one totally doing. By that time, there's definitely going to have to be a disaster level God. I mean, that whole ranking in itself is just one gigantic Chekhov's gun. So we will eventually see it. I hope we see more than just one disaster level God, but you know, it's very likely that he might be the only disaster level God in the series. Like I said, I hope not, but it's very possible that that could happen. So if he were to fight Saitama with the ability to create black holes, I mean, regardless if he can or cannot do this, he will be disaster level God. But if he could, I mean, if there's anything above God, sure, he can go there. High God, above God, even if you want to call that a ranking. But if he could create a black hole in a literal sense, you know, how big would it have to be? I guess, you know, judging by the size of what he appears to be, he's like the size of like a Rochi, you know, almost around there. At least what we saw of his encounter with Homeless Emperor later on in the series. He's around that size, so he could create something, you know, similar to like the size of what like a basketball or something would be compared to him. So that would be huge. If it was like a literal black hole, it would just wreck the Earth. I don't know how long it would take to absorb it or whatever, but everything would just never be the same after that. It would probably go to the center of the Earth. Let me just put it out there that I don't know anything. I'm stupid when it comes to all of this stuff. I'm just taking a guess. But then, if it was able to sustain itself and it was able to suck in Saitama, I think Saitama would still be able to fight this, but I'll go into that later. But if it just collapsed on itself, it would create like an Earth-ending explosion anyway. So, just for the sake of this fight, we'll have to go to like what mangakas, you know, and battle anime in general just consider the power of black holes to be, kind of like what Blackbeard has in One Piece with the Ami Ami no Mi, or we could go to like My Hero with 13's quirk. So something realistic like that, something that wouldn't be like a literal black hole that would just cause a whole bunch of problems. Still, regardless, Saitama will be able to survive this, at least just in my opinion, based off of what we've seen so far. So, if we go back to the season 1 of the anime when Saitama encounters Garugan uses his Esper psychic abilities on Saitama, and he likens the force that he's putting on him to a black hole. So let me just also put it out there that this scene doesn't happen in the manga. This is all anime, so it's not really canon. It's kind of just like meant to be hyperbolic the way that the rest of season 1 was compared to the manga. But regardless, that really didn't affect Saitama at all. I mean, he just kind of like brushed it off, no problem. So I assume something similar would happen if God was able to have this ability and use it on Saitama. He would just muscle through it, no problem, and likely just punch God in the end, just like he does with everyone else. So yeah, he would be disaster level God, but still at the same time, he wouldn't really be able to do much to Saitama. Akroma asks, I got a little raise and was finally able to upgrade my Patreon. Just want to say to everyone watching that Big Bro Shonen is the best YouTuber. Fight me. Hey, thanks Akroma. I really appreciate that, my friend. Maybe one day that will be true. I've been trying to get into Samurai 8, but always seem to find an excuse to postpone it. My question is, how good is it? Thank you. So this is a great question. I'm glad you're asking about Samurai 8. I wish more people did, but you know, in time they will, I'm sure. But it's fantastic. Honestly, I'm really not trying to be hyperbolic about it. I really do think it is something special already. We're only 12 chapters in. So, I mean, of course, this is Kishimoto that we're dealing with. So if you like Naruto, you're going to like this series. There is a lot of parallels to Naruto. It's not a carbon copy or anything like that, don't worry. But it's definitely very similar to Naruto, I'll say that, at least with its narrative themes and character building and stuff. But we have to remember that, Kishimoto has already made Naruto for years and years and years, so he's already went through the trial and error of creating a fantastic shonen series. So now that he just gets to come into this series with all of that experience and all of that knowledge, he's able to just make something even better, because of everything that he's already learned. And I think that's what he's kind of like doing with this series, because it's great right now. Like I took a chance on it, getting into it with the first chapter, and I immediately from the first chapter I was like, all right, this is going to be good. I'm on board. And then after that, it had to build a little bit. It had to establish the lore. We had to go through a lot of exposition, all of the rules and whatnot. But as of late, like the last 4 chapters have all been great, and I am fully into it. Like once it hits like chapter 10 specifically, it goes on like this crazy upward spiral instead of like a downward spiral. It's just been so great. Like I've been looking forward to these chapters so much just because of how good it's been. And it's mainly because of the introduction of like the first big villain of the series so far. He's already my favorite character. I love him so much. This guy, Atta. He's like Space Madara in a way, kind of. It's just so cool. Everything that Kishimoto is doing with these characters and whatnot. So the only thing that Samurai 8 doesn't currently have going for it is like a robust roster. But that's understandable because, like I said, there's so much exposition and world building and lore that has already been established. So that if he was throwing all these characters at us as well, it would kind of be a little too much. So there will be time for that. And as I've said before, it's only 12 chapters in, and I'm already fully engaged into the series. I can't wait to see where it's headed. But yeah, it's not really that popular now in the West because it doesn't have an anime yet. But apparently, it's super popular in Japan already. I mean, just based off of the cover page stuff that we're getting from Okubo and Kishimoto, they keep saying that it's super popular and that they're pushing out more and more stuff because of the response, the great response that it's been getting. So, yeah, this is the real deal. It's not just like blind hype. It is legitimately a good series. It's not reinventing the wheel or anything like that. It's just a really solid shonen. And the power scale is insane already. Like, this isn't like Naruto level power. It's more so like Dragon Ball Z, honestly. Like, the level of power that these characters already have, just 12 chapters in. So, yeah, check it out. I mean, you only have 12 chapters to read. So why not? It is great, and I think once it gets its anime adaptation, it is going to explode. Kind of similar to how My Hero did. General Knox Fan asks, hello again, Shonen. Got yet another battle anime question for you. Hopefully you find it as entertaining as I find your answers. Hey, thanks, man. But anyway, if you got to make a team out of 3 heroes from the A class and 3 from the B class to take on Hero Hunter Garo, who would you pick and why? No my mask, Saitama, or glasses allowed. I took glasses out because I know you'd pick him. Haha, yes, that is true. I would totally pick him. He's awesome. Can't wait to see more from that guy. So, based off the parameters you've given me, I have picked E-Iron, Okama Itachi, One-Shotter, Fubuki, Trap Tengu, and Neostar. So, E-Iron and Okama Itachi because they're likely the 2 strongest A-class heroes aside from My Mask and currently Saitama, of course. E-Iron, he's likely the fastest. That is available, I guess, and we would totally need that against somebody like Hero Hunter Garo. Of course, he's not as fast as him, but he's better than nothing, and he's very capable with the sword. He's just all around just a good offensive tool to use here, especially in close range combat, which is going to be essential in this fight. Okama Itachi, very similar to E-Iron, but has the added ability of the Air Blade, so they are covering that territory where they could be up close, but they can also support from afar if need be. One-Shotter, he's just ridiculous. He could just sit, way far back, farther than even Shooter did in their original Death Gatling encounter with them. So would One-Shotter just be able to headshot Garo immediately? I don't think so. I think it's very likely that Garo could probably anticipate a sniper bullet, given that he has the chance to, not just be completely blindsided by it. I think that's not too unrealistic to think. But would he be able to tank a sniper bullet to the head? I don't know. Probably not. Maybe. It's a possibility. But one-shotter definitely is needed in this equation. So Fubuki, while she's not, ultra powerful, she's definitely probably one of the most capable B-class heroes. I think she's certainly A-class level. But she would just essentially be another thing to hold Garo still. How long she would be able to do it, I'm not sure. Would she even be able to hold Garo still with her Esper abilities? Probably not. Maybe. But also she has the Hell Blizzard, the Tornado, her main attack that she could do. So that's going to add some support. She's just overall solid here. And then Trap Tengu. He's not really that well known, but he does appear in that one bonus chapter with where Saitama and Wildhorn and the other random heroes come together to take on that Scalodon monster that ran away from the Hero Association. Mainly, he just has traps and stuff, so he's just going to be setting this up, for Garo to hold him in place. This is my main strategy here, just to get Garo to stand still so that E-Iron or Akama Itachi can just cut him up or behead him, or one-shotter can just shoot him. That's it. And the Needle Star is just a wild card. I like Needle Star. I wanted to see him do well. I think that he could add some cool support with his chained mace and Morningstar thing that he has. I mean, yeah, it kind of worked out for Chain and Toad, but we saw what happened there. But I think he would just be more capable than Chain and Toad. Yeah, it's very likely that his weapon could be used against him in this fight. But like I said, I just want to add him in there because I like him, and he's just a wild card element. But overall, the strategy is to get Garo to stand still, so that he could just be taken out that way. Because if you let Garo move and you let him think more, we saw what happened, and you're likely not going to win. So is this team guaranteed to take him out? Hell no. He'll probably win, but I think that there's a chance that maybe they could take him out. Paxson D asks, "Hey Shonen, hope you had a good week, my friend." I hope you did too, Paxson. Thank you for all the support, my friend. Let's say you were at the head of the Hero Association and you can make your own list of S-Class heroes. Can you give me a ranking? Say you had the knowledge of the One Punch Man universe in full, and anyone you put in your S-Class would have to join. Have an SS-Class too for Saitama and King, of course. Don't mind if they're not heroes either. If you want Boros in there, chuck them in there as well. Oh, okay, since you said, I'm going to add Boros in there. I'm not going to put too many other monsters in there. I'm going to mainly try to keep it as human as possible, but here's the list that I have. So they're not exactly in order of power. I kind of just wrote them out just to put them out there. It would take some time for me to accurately put these guys in order, especially to appease everyone, so I don't have to hear everyone why'd you put this guy above him? This guy's clearly not that powerful. I'm just putting them out there. They're ambiguous rankings. But here's the list that I would have. So of course, we got 0 and number 1 for Saitama and King. They are one and the same essentially, and we could put them in the triple S class or the double S class. I try to stay away from double S because all the negative connotations that come with that. But then, since you said I could have Boros in there, put him in there. Let's just say Boros, he decides to be a good guy, and he just wants to, defend Earth. So there, he's at the top of the S-Class until Blast proves otherwise. Then we got Blast underneath him. Then Tatsumaki, My Mask. I've always wanted him in the S-Class. I hope that he joins there later on. Metal Knight, needed. Silverfang, Bomb, he's got to be in there too. Why not? They are, they got to be together. Child Emperor, of course, Flash, Atomic Samurai, Darkshine, Zombie Man, Watchdog, Pig God, Drive Knight, Genos, Metal Bat, Tank Top Master, and Puri Puri Prisoner. Just standard stuff. So here's where we're going into the supplementary stuff, where I get to add my own people that I wanted in here. So Psychos, definitely got to be in there. She's like the mild version of Tatsumaki. Just added Esper support in there. Let's just say she turns good for the hell of it too. Definitely needed in there. She is an asset to the S-Class. Dr. Genus. Love this guy. One of my favorite characters in the series. I think he's very underrated. And while he's not obviously going to be out there in the field, I think him being a part of the S-Class would be like a similar role to that Metal Knight kind of has, where he just kind of sits back, but then he makes creations or does stuff to aid in the other S-Class heroes. Maybe make some kind of steroids stuff like that, where he can assist them in his own way, because his brain, his knowledge is insane. It's like a weapon in itself. So he's definitely a part of the S-Class in my opinion. Then Armored Gorilla, same for Oh, I'm sorry, Suiryu. Suiryu, that goes without saying. He's S-Class level for sure. Maybe he'll be an S-Class hero later on in the story. Hopefully, he's got to be in there for sure. Then Armor Gorilla. Same way I feel about Dr. Genius. Armor Gorilla is one of my favorite characters. I think he's so great. And he's clearly demon level. I mean, it's been established. And we saw how he dealt with just one of those tiger... I forget that guy's name. The gorilla... The gorilla. The G-U-E-R and then the G-O-R-I-L-L-A gorilla. I forget his name, but the guy who was, he was trying to get his disaster level increased in Season 2. So yeah, he's very capable. Definitely on the S-Class level. Definitely not on Genos' level as we saw, but I think he should be in there for sure. I just really like that character. He's one of my favorite. And then Hellfire and Gale. Now that there are humans... and, I don't know, they kind of had a redemption. They've got to be in the S-Class as well. It remains to be seen if they can still transform into monsters. I wouldn't be surprised if somehow that has been undone. Like, with the resurrection that they have had, maybe that's been undone. It remains to be seen. I'm just taking a guess here. But just further to redeem these characters, I could see that being an aspect. But, as we saw recently in the webcomic, they're probably still going to be villains. I mean, we haven't seen how this whole storyline is resolved yet, but I just hope they turn out to be neutral rather than just standard villains, Legandaryus asks, hey, Shonen, my one question this week is about if Genos is able to learn martial arts, and would he be willing to? Would he even be able to create new techniques that Bang and Bomb could not replicate? In my opinion, he would learn the Whirlwind Iron Cutting Fist first, since he prefers overwhelming power above all. But I think him learning the Water Stream Rock Smashing Fist would be better for him since he has low defenses. So I think that in theory he could probably learn both, similar to how Garo is, because he does have like that internal RAM in his head, if you will. So I'm sure he could store the information that he's learning from there and put it in there, and then just use both techniques to his advantage. So yeah, learning the martial arts would totally benefit Genos, maybe even more so than most of the other heroes, because he has the added technological component to him, along with the arsenal. And this is where I'm going to go into like the things that he can create new techniques that Bang and Bomb could not replicate. Because let's just say like he could do their techniques, but end it with like a crazy fire energy beam thing that he could do. Like imagine like if he were to do Bang's Fang interpolation attack, but instead of Bang like stabbing you with his fingers, Genos can just hit you with a super mega blast to the face, but while maintaining the technique and the skill that the Water Stream Rock Smashing Fist applies to it. It would just be super deadly. I would love to see Genos do this, because he already, he definitely does have some knowledge of combat. I mean, he's not an amateur by any means. We've seen him use some solid techniques and whatnot. He's not just flailing his arms and stuff. He knows how to move. He knows how to throw his arms and stuff. But if he just took it to the next level and used the, those techniques, it would be insane. Same thing with the Whirlwind Iron Cutting Fist. Like, if he could just hit you with that, but then at the very end, he just opens up his hand and shoots a blast out of it. It would just make that much better. And these are things that obviously Bang and Bomb cannot do. I mean, they could probably replicate the damage that these things can do, but still, it would have a different impact and a different overall effect. Also, it remains to be seen what he could do in his Daedric form. But even if he still can have like those Guyver blades come out of his arms, like we saw before he took on Elder Centipede, even during the Elder Centipede fight, he could just add those blades on to the Water Stream Rock Smashing Fist and the Whirlwind Iron Cutting Fist. Just make it that much more devastating. Something that Bang and Bomb don't do. They don't use weapons. So yeah, Genos learning this would be insane, and I'd love to see it. So that's pretty much it for the video today, guys. Once again, I want to thank all 70 of my incredible, attractive, amazing, good people patrons. If you would like to be in next week's Q&A video, please check out the Patreon. The $5 tier will give you access to it. And if you haven't already, please subscribe as well. Have a great day. See you in the next one.